Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Lisa's Coloring Corner. Today we are going to be doing part 2, coloring out of this Pokemon Quest book by Sunlife Drawing. Again, it is a collaboration between myself, Color Creatively, and Zoe Archer for the month of February. I will leave links down below to their channel, so go and check them out if you haven't already. I will also be leaving links below for this book and for the Statler dual-ended markers that I am using in this particular book. Now, hopefully I have my markers still in order and that little Maddie did not get them out of order, but I do have my handy dandy color chart that I made, so I should be okay. If anybody's interested in this color chart, you can shoot me an email. My email is listed below down in the description. Keep in mind it is an MS Word document, so you would need Word on your computer in order to print that out. Okay, so let's get back into the picture that we were coloring. And I will zoom you back in. Again, as I stated, I just quick created a clip for the first part. Hello, Misty. To this color along. And again, I deeply apologize for having that first part sideways. But Misty, I have to move you. I'm sorry, baby. Sorry about that. Oh, let's put you down this way. Oh, you're caught. There you go. There you go. Okay. Okay, so, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, I do apologize for that first part being sideways, but again, I felt it was better doing it that way than having it in portrait mode because you couldn't hardly see the coloring. It was too far away. So now I am going to be sideways again. I thought that was going to work out so good doing it that way because I could see more. You know, if I moved to the left, I could see that on my iPad. If I moved up, I could see that in my iPad. Now it is backwards again. I can't win. Anyhow, let's get on with it. Am I in close enough? We'll go in one more. Okay, so when I so abruptly left last time, we were doing number 11s, and I had outlined a lot of this color. And again, this book is kind of nice if you want the bigger hexagons. It is a little bit easier to color in than some of the other Sunlife drawing books, which have a little bit smaller hexagons and circles and squares. They have all kinds of shapes. So, what shall we talk about today? Now, I had mentioned in my last video how I had gotten up and found myself singing, coming down the hallway and going into the kitchen. I was singing one of Maddie's songs from her videos, The Muffin Man. I told my daughter that last night, and she just burst out laughing. She thought that was so hilarious. Well, now it's not Muffin Man anymore. It was Itsy Bitsy Spider. Oh, the joys of having little kids or little grandkids. Keep hearing all these children's songs and nursery rhymes. So I must hear them in my sleep now. You ever do that when you're driving and you get home and you come into the house and you're humming or singing the last song that you heard on the radio? I do that all the time too. How many of you guys sing in the car? I definitely do that. Do you guys sing in the shower? I do not do that. I love singing. Not the best at it, but that is one place. I'm sorry, I was off screen that whole while. But yeah, the shower is one place I do not sing in. And they say that's one of the best places. Your acoustics are so good in the shower. I am hoping to finish this picture up in this part so we don't have to go on to a part 3. So I'm not sure how long this part will be. Now again, because these markers are water-based, you won't quite get, you know, the same type of coverage that you get with your alcohol markers. But there are good and bad to each type. With these, you do not get bleed through, which in, you know, your single-sided books is not a big deal. If it does bleed through, you just, of course, put a sheet of paper behind the page you're coloring on. But another good thing about the water-based markers is they don't bleed or feather outside of the lines like alcohol markers do, especially on this Create Space paper, because this is a very thirsty type of paper and it will soak up the ink rather quickly out of markers. So yeah, this is kind of what I do. Just outline a bunch of them and then you can just color the whole area in. It's much, much easier than coloring in each individual hexagon, which would be very tedious. If you want to spend more time on a picture, I guess you can do that too. With the tip on these, the broad side of these markers, you can use the very tip and get into finer areas. So I do like this tip, kind of like the Crayola Super Tips. The Super Tips are, you know, different than these, but kind of the same concept. If you have broader areas to color, you just use the side. Thinner areas, you use the tip. I read a story online I could not believe, and I thought I would share it with you. There was a group of, I believe it was nurses over in, let me double check, I think it was over, was it Britain? Naples, Italy. And these nurses released a bunch of cockroaches in the ward that they worked in. And the reason they did this was because they wanted to get that ward closed and wanted to get in an easier ward to work in. They felt evidently this ward that they worked in, and it didn't really say what ward it was, you know, what type of work they did in that particular ward. But evidently they did not like it. So they tried to get the ward closed, saying it was, you know, insanitary and it should be inspected, and they discovered that these nurses did it and that it truly wasn't cockroaches from Italy. Number one, many of these cockroaches were very disoriented, and a lot of them were flipped up on their backs. So they thought that was pretty odd, because they brought these gunny sacks in of cockroaches and just spread them all over the entire ward. So yeah, many of them were just flipped upside down, and so they thought that was kind of strange. You know, if these cockroaches were living in this ward, they wouldn't be belly up on their backs. And the other thing, which explained the reason why so many of them were either dead or disoriented and flipped on their backs, is the fact that those cockroaches were not even native to that area, and they were native to, where did it say? South America or something. So it wasn't even their native cockroaches. So these nurses did not think about it too thoroughly. Oh my heavens. And yeah, they traced it back to these nurses that did it. And I'm like, oh my heavens. Now that's original. Oh my God. I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah. People come up with all kinds of unique things, don't they? I mean, it's one thing to be dissatisfied with your job, but heavens, just leave then, go and get another job. Not that that's always the easiest thing to do, but still. Don't spread cockroaches all over. Oh, heavens. Takes all kinds, right? As I probably mentioned in the first part of this, we are getting hit with yet another snowstorm this weekend. And the thing that makes it even worse, I wish we would just get all snow, but we're right on the border kind of where we are supposed to be getting some really nasty wintry mix with quite a bit of freezing rain or sleet. I can never remember what the difference is. They've explained it on our weather channel here, our news channel, when the weather is on. We have one meteorologist who I just get a bang out of, because he's so animated and he just loves to explain some of these meteorological terms, which I actually find quite interesting. And he explained what the difference was between sleet and freezing rain. and now I can't remember what it was. I think it's something about, and maybe some of you do know, you know, if it's freezing when it comes down versus freezing when it hits the ground, I think is the main difference. But either way, it's icy. So I think we are going to be spreading some salt out on the driveway before that crap hits. Try to keep ahead of it, right? And then hopefully, because my driveway is at a very steep angle. And yeah, if it gets slippery, you are not getting up that driveway. Thank heavens it's a short driveway, but still, it can be a bugger in the winter. I said in the past, I live up on the top of a very steep hill. Marathon is built on a huge hill, and so many of our driveways, especially if they are north and south driveways, which the hill starts at the north and comes to the south as it goes up, which is kind of backwards what you would think. You would think south is down farther. But so, yeah, many of our driveways that are north and south are quite steep. And when you build your house, many of them will have like walkout basements, and they'll build their house that way because of being built on such a hill. Mine does not have a walkout basement, but the foundation, of course, on one side of the house is much deeper than the other side, if that makes sense. And yeah, it can create havoc because, you know, like my driveway is kind of sliding down, the concrete is, and so I keep getting a wider and wider gap between the concrete of the driveway and the concrete of the garage, because they're two different slabs of concrete. And so the driveway concrete is, yeah, it's sliding down to the north because that's where the hill goes. And then the sidewalks crack, and yes, it takes a number of years for that to happen, but it still happens. Also, the window wells. We have, like many houses, we have the metal window wells that go around the, you know, half of the basement window is above ground and half is, you know, in the ground. Well, no, I guess the window itself is, there's smaller windows in the basement, but they are just slightly above the ground. So there are metal window wells that go around the outside of the house, so that, especially on the back side of the house, when rain comes pouring down and starts really coming down towards these windows, that with these metal guards around the window, the rainwater can't get into my basement. But due to the house, you know, shifting a little bit each year, those window wells are starting to, well, I shouldn't say pierce the siding, but it's getting to where it's pushing some of the siding up. And those window wells need to be replaced anyhow. They're quite rusty. But that is going to be such a project because they are dug down into the ground so they can protect the whole window. And so you got to dig these whole things out and then get the new ones in, and then of course put the dirt back and yada yada yada, right? Okay, I think we got number 11s done. You can start seeing it take shape. If I was zoomed out more, you would. What should we do next? Let's do the 5s, because where am I? See, now I'm backwards again. Okay, down here we go. Okay, number 5 is orange. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I got one out of order. Black, gray, brown, orange. Black, gray, brown, orange. There we go. Okay, so it is the 4th color. That's why I was getting off track. Okay, so let's go in with the 5s. So yeah, it can be a challenge living on a hill, as probably some of you know that also live on hills. But then there are challenges where a lot of people live. I do not have to worry about flooding up here like I'm sure many of you do, especially if you're in an area of the country that gets a lot of rain, and especially if you live in a low-lying area. With me being up here, we don't really have to worry about it too much. Now, we do have a big river down near the bottom of the hill, and there are quite a number of houses down there, and oh yeah, they have gotten flooded out many a time. There were some trailers, some mobile homes down there, and a couple of them pretty much got totaled. They ended up having to demolish them, and they moved. That one year I can't remember if it was flooding from the springtime or if it was just due to having so much rain during the summer. But there is a house on the main drag down there that has an above ground pool. A nice sized pool, must be like, I don't know, 15, 18 footer. And it flooded so bad that the water came halfway up that pool. And did that look goofy? I mean, here's a swimming pool surrounded by water. Should have taken a picture of that. Those poor people, I can't imagine how much flooding they had in their house then. I mean, the water was running over the road like crazy down there. They had roads all closed, and what a mess. But yeah, with having that river down there, it can go over its banks relatively easy, and it is in a low-lying area, so all of those houses down there, I would imagine, would have to have flood insurance. I'm glad I don't have to worry about that, because that can add, I imagine, quite a bit to your homeowner's policy. And then you hear these stories so many times that, you know, you do have flood insurance, and then for one reason or another, they don't want to cover it. Those insurance companies sometimes. You know, just like you pay for your auto insurance for years and years and years, and then you happen to get in an accident, and maybe it's not even that bad of an accident, but of course they want to raise your rates then, even if the accident wasn't your fault. If you're making a claim against, now granted, if it's not your fault, the other person's insurance should be paying for the repairs, but, you know, or health insurance. We won't even get on that subject, because, you know, there too, you pay so much in premium for your health insurance, and then they don't want to cover this, and they don't want to cover that. You need a pre-authorization for this. And, as many of you know, because I know many of you in the coloring world are into coloring because of, whoops, let's go this way, are into coloring because of your health problems. Whether it's psychological problems, you know, mental health, whether it's physical health, anxiety, depression. Coloring is awesome for that. But yeah, health insurance can just make it so difficult. Pretty soon you might be able to see. Well, no, because I'm zoomed in. I was going to say you'll probably be able to start seeing what Pokemon this is. But we'll keep you in suspense. Boy, I don't know if we will get this done in this part. We're almost at half an hour. And there's a lot of coloring to be done yet. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see how far we get in an hour or so. And I guess I'll make a decision at that time then, if we should just continue and have a longer color along, or if I'll just stop and do a third part. Have some number 1s in here, which is black, so whoops. So I would assume that's some eyes, huh? There are occasionally in these pictures some hexagons that are left white. They're blank, so they are just to be left white. So then I'm a little bit more careful around them. So how have you guys been enjoying Sunlife Drawing Month with the three of us? Have many of you picked up some of their coloring books after seeing us color out of them? They are just releasing a brand new book, and I am hoping that I receive my copy next week. And if so, seeing as how we're getting close to the end of the month, I'm hoping I get it in time to do a color along out of that new book. I can't remember exactly what the name of it is right offhand. I think it's something like One Color Stencils or something like that. It's one that I keep going off screen today. It's one that I thought I would really like, so I can't wait to get it. It is not available yet on Amazon. I don't believe, I didn't look these past couple days, but I don't, last time I looked, it was not available, put it that way. By the time I receive my copy from Sunlife Drawing, I am assuming that it will be out there. So if I do manage to do a color along out of it, I will, as usual, I will leave a link to the book. And even if I don't receive it in time for February's Sunlife Drawing Month, I will still, you know, color out of the book and show you it, because it does look like a neat one. I love doing one color or two color, but the one color stuff is so much fun. You know, not much thinking involved in that. I did see in a Facebook group an individual colored, I can't remember if it was the one color mandala or one of the other one color books, and she colored it in multiple colors yet, and that looked nice too. So you don't have to stick with just the one color. You are free to do whatever you want, even like with these color by numbers. You know, if you want to use a different color than what it calls for, as Dee Dee Willingham says, you are the boss of your coloring book. You use whatever colors you want, whatever mediums you want. It is totally up to you. As usual, on Fridays, this is Friday morning, and I do not have Maddie today, so I am hoping to get a number of videos recorded again between today and tomorrow that I can release throughout the week. I just did a video of flip-throughs of some books that were requested after these individuals, some of these, my subscribers, seen my coloring book collection. So I already recorded those flip-throughs, and that video will be up today on Friday. And then one of the books that I did a flip-through of, she also requested, was wondering if I could just do a picture or two out of it. So I may do that color in chat today also, if I'm still chatty by that time. I may have run out of things to talk about. You wouldn't think that's possible, but it is. It's like, okay, what subject should we get on next? Subjects that are acceptable, that is. We, of course, do not touch the subjects of religion or politics or, you know, anything discriminatory in regard to, you know what I mean. So yeah, we can't, you know, we just set off a whole mess of comments that we don't want to get into, and there we go, my channel. We don't want to do that. So yeah, we think of safe things to talk about. I am hopefully going to be starting, at least I plan on it at this point, starting a diamond painting series. I'm thinking it may be like 3 parts long, with the first part just being real basic, starting from the ground up. So, you know, like, I'm going to assume you know nothing about diamond painting. Now, if you are into diamond painting already, if you want to watch that particular video for entertainment purposes only, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can also just skip that particular video. I will be showing my diamond painting supplies, how I store both types of drills, as they're called, diamonds, because there are 2 different types. As those of you who do diamond paint know, there are square diamonds, or drills as they're called, and there are round ones. And I never used to do round. I always did square, and I'll get into, you know, the differences and why I preferred the square over the round. But because the round ones are quite a bit easier, I decided I was going to order a few smaller round kits that I could do in my chair rather than at my large drafting table, because my chair, my rocker recliner, is just so much more comfortable than the chair at the drafting table. And I mean, the office chair there is comfortable, but just because of the nature of the craft, you're bent over a little bit. And I have a bad lower back anyhow. And I've been off screen that entire time. Oh my gosh, Lisa. I just keep jabbering and jabbering, and I'm not looking where I'm at. I am so sorry. Hopefully you guys are just coloring too and don't notice when I get off screen. I get so excited talking about diamond painting. Just love it. Oh, but it is another so addictive of a hobby. Oh my. So I have quite a stash of diamond paintings, which some of you have requested to see, but I'm not quite sure how I am going to show that, because they're all piled up on top of my filing cabinet over here, and they're in boxes. So I can't really take everything out of the box in order to show you. So I may just get together some pictures of what I have in my supply to do. And then I do also have a binder of those that I have completed already. So I can show you that too. Because most diamond paintings, not all, there is one very popular seller on AliExpress called Huracan, and they do not include what we call an inventory sheet that we use to just double check and make sure all of our colors that are supposed to be with that diamond painting are there. And the nice thing about having that inventory sheet then is you can put it in your binder, and you can keep track then of what pictures you've done. And I do have a diamond painting log. It's a log book, but because I just received that not too long ago, I have done many, many diamond paintings before then, so I haven't been logging anything, because I'm going to have to go back and look in my orders to see what I've actually done in the past. I, of course, wouldn't be able to include the date that it was started or the date that it was finished, which is all included in that logbook. There's room for you to put, you know, who it was for, you know, if it was just for you or if it was a gift, the date that it was started, when you got done. So yeah, I won't have any of that information. I'll have the date that I ordered it. So I may just put the month. Well, can't really do that either because I didn't start it necessarily in the same month that I ordered it. Many times that is not the case. I've had some in my stash probably for over a year because I have so many, and so many of them that I ordered are very large. I am working right now on my largest one ever, and that is a 70 by 90, which is quite big. I have done quite a few 60 by 80s, and I have a lot in my stash of 60 by 80s to do yet. And all 60 by 80 means is, because they come from China, everything is in centimeters. So you have to convert everything. But you know, those of us who diamond paint a lot and we order from China, we're so used to now knowing about how big a 30 by 40 is, knowing how big a 60 by 80 is, that when you order something off Amazon and it's actually in inches, we almost have to convert them back to centimeters just to get an idea of how big they are. Otherwise, you know, you get a ruler out and you measure the inches. I mean, yeah, you can get an idea because we are so familiar with inches, but like I said, we're just so used to the centimeters now that all these diamond paintings come in. It's kind of funny. I'm surprised we have not switched to, I mean, we're about the only country that is not metric now. But boy, can you imagine what a switch that would be? Oh my heavens. You know, no longer having inches and feet and yards and even miles. But, you know, some things, if you think about it, have actually kind of been switched. When you hear about races, it's always a 5K. So it's 5 kilometers, which is what, 3 point some miles. So, and with Bob being a mechanic, or he used to be a mechanic, there are so many tools that are also being switched over to metric. Some of the cars need metric tools. So you almost have to have a set of both sometimes so that you have the metric tools to work on this car, and depending on the make and model of the car, of course. But they never had to worry about that before either. Just, I suppose, getting more and more import cars from overseas that use the metric system. But it can make a mechanics, you know, make it a nightmare for them. And we'll just color for a while. We're getting there. I feel so bad about that first part being sideways. And if it was just a standalone video where I wasn't coloring, I would just re-record it. You know, I wouldn't have put it out there. But because it is with this one, And the first part, you know, it's kind of hard to start a part 2 and finish a color along when the first part's not out there. Makes sense, right? So, yeah. But like I said, when I'm coloring, it's not that bad having it sideways, you know, because it would just look like this, only I'm coloring, you know, this way. So it's not that big of a deal while I'm coloring, and that's why I decided to go ahead and put it up. And I hope nobody has that big of a problem with it. And then it was 2 parts, 2 pieces kind of spliced into one because my dumb phone had a ring again. Like I had mentioned once before, I put my cell phone in airplane mode so that my phone won't ring while I'm recording, but can't put your landline in airplane mode. So, yeah, hopefully they won't be calling this morning. I have been getting so many robocalls. And I always want to say spam, but it's like, no, that's emails, Lisa. You know, just crap calls, you know, saying, oh, you want a vacation, or I hear you're interested in refinancing your home, or we found out somebody in your household has a hearing problem. It's like, no, please take me off your calling list. And so many times now, if it says unknown, I just do what Bob does, and you pick up the phone, you just hang up right away. Don't even answer it. Although sometimes they say that that's not the right thing to do either, because if they're robocalls, it automatically logs that somebody answered the phone at such and such a time during the day, and that they will be calling back with a live person then. So you can't win, can you? Was I off screen there again? God. Must be a Friday. I'm not doing too good today, am I? And like I said in past videos, the more zoomed in you are, the easier it is to get off screen. Not that that should be an excuse. Anybody have any big plans for the weekend? I don't, especially with the weather coming. I stay in home. Today I have to go and get groceries and get to the credit union and mail some things out. I gotta stop at the post office. And a kitty cat's playing with my patio door blind, so if you see the sunlight kind of flickering on my page, that's why. Sunlight is kind of deceiving again today because we had a little bit below 0 again this morning. This has really been a miserable winter, hasn't it? For pretty much the entire country. I seen even out in California, they were showing this morning, kids just jumping for joy because they got snow for the first time ever. And these kids were just ecstatic. It was so cute. And it even showed Jerry O'Connell, I think, the actor. It showed him by his car. It was so funny because he's pointing to the top of his car and he goes, "See that? That is snow. That is not hail. That is snow." And he's pointing to each snowflake on the roof of his car, because there too, they have never, ever gotten snow. So this has just been an unprecedented winter for everybody. The amount of snow in the mountains, oh my heavens. I mean, they would get like 6 feet at a time. Can you imagine 6 feet of snow? Now granted, yes, that is in the mountains, but if that is anywhere where people ski, the threat of avalanches and whatnot has to be high. I mean, I know they go up there and they, you know, once they get a bunch of new snow, they go up there and they blow it up so that the threat for avalanche is lower. I mean, they kind of take care of it, but still. You've heard many stories of avalanches this year, and I would assume some of that is because of the amount of snow up in those mountains where there is skiing. You know, a lot of that skiing out west is not your typical ski hill. You know, that is where they're going down on this fresh snow that has not been groomed like a regular ski hill is. They are going down on that light, fluffy stuff. I don't know how they do that. You know, and then they're jumping over these hills and sometimes running into a tree. Ay, ay, ay. To me, that is pretty dangerous. Not my cup of tea, but then I am not a skier, so it's probably other skiers' dream. Uh-oh, that was supposed to be an orange one. Let's just fill it in quick. Whoop! Always got to miss one, right? If I get off screen one more time, can somebody please tell me? I can hear you guys yelling. Move the book. Move the book. That's what I kind of think when I'm watching other, because, you know, most people with YouTube channels, when they are coloring, even the best of us, well, not me, I'm not the best yet, that's for sure, but even the best of them get off screen sometimes. So then, you know, when I see that, I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. They do it too. Because, yeah, you get talking about this and that, and you completely forget to move your book. And Midnight is talking to me over here. Meow. I think he wants to be petted. All my kitties are such babies. He's the only one, though, that will not come in my lap to be petted. To be pet. The Two girls, oh yeah, they curl up in my lap and just purr and purr and purr. But Midnight just sits on the arm of the chair and then headbutts me if I do not pet him quickly enough to his liking. And then if I stop and he doesn't like that because he wants some more loving yet, he will paw at me, just like my girls will do while they're laying in my lap. They'll paw at me, but you know, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It's kind of cute. But they have their claws out when they do it. It's like, that hurts. Wowzers. It's like, okay, okay, I get the message. It's kind of funny. Midnight's the most demanding when he hops up at on the chair by me. Because, yeah, you don't pet him fast enough. He's headbutting you. It's like, pat me, pat me, pat me. I'm pretty lucky, though. All my kitties are big babies. You know, you hear of these stories where their cats can't even be held or they can't even be petted. See, petted must be a word. Or if you've ever seen the show, My Cat from Hell, oh my heavens. My kitties are angels compared to some of those cats. Wow. But a lot of it stems from how they are, I don't know if you want to say caring for these cats, but how they handle these cats. You know, it's no wonder sometimes these cats react the way they do. And that's how, you know, what is his name? The cat whisperer. I can't remember what his name is. Oops, did it again. What's number 3? Brown. That should cover that up. It's on the tip of my tongue. Keep thinking Austin, and I know it's not that. Whoops. Anyhow, you know, he points out things that they have to change because it is affecting these cats, and very much so in a negative way. Whether it be they, you know, brought this cat in where there was another cat or a dog and they did not introduce them slowly like you should. You know, you keep them in separate rooms for a while and just slowly introduce that new cat, which is, you know, what you'd have to do for a dog too, whether it's puppy or full grown. But, you know, so many times they just kind of throw these animals together and then can't understand why they don't get along and there's fights. Well, think about it. So, yeah. I like my cuddly kitties. And I do love my little, as Maddie calls her, puppers. My little puppers, Bella. I had a request from a subscriber to show Bella sometime. So, I'm not quite sure how I'll get her on screen, but at some point in the future, I will do that. I think I could do it when I am starting my diamond painting series, because I plan on taking the camera, well, my phone, into the living room and show you my area where I diamond paint and what I'm currently working on over there. So, long as I have my phone, my camera in my hand, rather than here with it being stationary on my desk. I could see if she would pose for a picture or two. Bella, smile. Smile for the camera. Oh, Maddie will do that. So cute. Go, Maddie, take a picture. She turns around, she'll go, cheese. No, she's not a ham at all. I am finally going to remember to pick up just a small wall clock to hang on the wall here between my desktop and the upper part of the desk. I have wall showing in there, and so it's just easier for me to hang it on the wall there rather than putting it on my desk and wasting precious real estate on my desk. Can never have enough desk space, right? Yeah, especially for, I mean, I'm lucky. I have this big area. This is a very large, very nice desk. Excuse me, I gotta stretch. That I got for nothing. Because one of my former bosses, let's do number 3, which is brown. When I was a paralegal, the attorney down the hallway from where I worked, he owned the building, and you know, our office and his and the secretaries down there, we were all friends. So we all talked together a lot, and he had a bunch of stuff in storage back behind the office building, and he owned those storage units too, and he just wanted to get rid of a bunch of stuff. He had a number of these desks, some where you had the credenza off to the left and some to the right. Well, I wanted it off to the left because that's where I had the room. Off to the right, sorry. If it went off to the left, it would have gone in front of my patio door, and I couldn't have that. And this was the last one he had that went off to the right, so I mean, it was perfect. And it fits here really nice. Like I said in another video, I think when they built this house, this room was designed to be a family room, because on the other side of this brick wall, which has a double-sided fireplace in it, so you can see the fire from both the living room and in here, I think that's why this was a family room. It isn't anymore. It is a you name it room. It is my recording room. Now that I started this, it is a toy storage room. It is a diamond painting storage room because all the kids' toys are in here. I have a couple toy boxes. Of course, everything gets dragged into the living room, and Grandma will pick them up and bring them back in here. Trying to get Maddie to do some of that and kind of combat the no response. All you parents are familiar with that. So that she starts getting a little responsible for some of the messes she makes and, you know, things like that. Maybe we will get this done in this part, because there's not enough left to make another part. How long are we? A little over an hour, so that's not too bad. we will go ahead and finish this up in this part so that this color along is only 2 parts long. One part of it being sideways. I am so glad I was setting my phone up for this recording and for the flip throughs. And I thought, you recorded a different way yesterday, Lisa. You better just go and check it out to make sure when you flip it, because I always gotta flip when I edit, because otherwise these are sideways. But they're still full screen. So I thought, you better check it. So I went into Movie Maker and brought it in off my phone. And Movie Maker had to process the clip and everything, which takes a while, but I am so glad I took the time to do it, because it's like, oh crap, that is not gonna work. So yeah, growing pains, right? We learn by our mistakes. Not that we like them, but, and the same is true with coloring, right? I am just learning. I was attempting for the very first time last night coloring with pan pastels. And I was doing a portrait. I was doing skin. Oh my, is that challenging? Oh, wow. So very different than just coloring with your, regular mediums. Oh, wow. But I think once I get the hang of it, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to be doing some of that on screen too, probably after my diamond painting series. I want to get the pan pastels out more. I did have a request from a subscriber because she had just gotten the entire set of pan pastels and she's afraid to use them. That's kind of where I had been for the longest time. Well, I'm still there because I've only used pan pastels for basically for backgrounds, either on their own, or I really like using them for backgrounds with stencils. And I have a whole bunch of stencils. So like if you have a cloud stencil, or you can even make your own cloud stencil. Those are pretty easy to make. But, so they're really easy to work with because they're, oh my gosh, there goes my phone. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause here. Be right back. Okay, I am back. Hasn't been any time at all for you, but it's been a little bit for me. Bella was in here, and so I figured she had to go out potty, which she did. So, let's continue on. I have no idea what I was talking about. Probably not much of anything. Last weekend, Jaden is in the Boy Scouts along with my other grandsons. And they had a trip to the Mall of America. And so Heather decided she was going to go along on this one. So she paid her fee that the parents had to pay. And what was really neat is, for any of you guys that have been to the Mall of America and went to the, what is it? Not SeaWorld, that's Disney. But it's kind of like that. And there's a big tunnel per se that you go through, and you see the sharks going overhead and the turtles and the fish. Well, they got to sleep in that tunnel overnight. And they evidently must do this quite a bit because they have stacks of mats that they bring out for you to sleep on. And then you just put your sleeping bag on that. So yeah, it's not the most comfortable, and Heather said nobody got a lot of sleep. But Jaden said he was right down by where the sharks were. So as you sleep, you have these sharks and fish going overhead. I thought that is so cool. That would be neat. And yeah, they all had a good time. Went on a bunch of the rides. And that Mall of America is just so huge. I was there once a few years ago with Heather and the boys. And oh my God. I mean, there's no way you can see it in one day. And we didn't even go in hardly any of the shops. You know, one whole floor, for those of you who haven't been there, you know, one whole floor is just restaurants and Legoland. Oh my heavens. That is just huge. I'm not a big mall shopper. Even our mall here in town. Well, not Marathon. Marathon does not have a mall. In Wausau, I very rarely go to it unless we get hungry for bourbon chicken. Because that is in the mall. So then I will hike down to the mall and get that for us. And once in a while for Christmas. But typically, mall shopping can really get expensive unless someplace, you know, is having a great sale, like Aeropostale or Victoria's Secret. Sometimes they have really good sales. Bed Bath & Beyond. But I don't know how much longer our mall is going to be around, because every single one of the big chain, I don't know if you'd call them chain, are, what did they call them? But it was the big department stores. First it was JCPenney that went out. Then it was Sears. And now Yonkers. So we have no big department store left in that entire mall. And yeah, so I don't know. And that's our main thing for downtown. It's, you know, it gets people downtown, which supports a lot of the smaller businesses that are down on 3rd Street down there. So it would, you know, if the mall goes out, that is really going to hurt all the businesses downtown, because the mall drew so many people down there, and then they'd walk down 3rd Street and, you know, get things from the other smaller businesses. So that would not be a good thing. But you hear that a lot. I believe it's in Marshfield, which is about an hour away from me. I think it was Marshfield, that their mall also closed. Malls just don't seem to be the big thing that they used to be when, you know, you had malls popping up everywhere. Now, Mall of America, of course, has generated a name for itself because it's one of the largest, if not the largest, in the country. So, you know, that one's going to be around for a while. But yeah, mall shopping can get expensive. Sometimes like I said, I'll do some Christmas shopping in there because they can really have some good deals. But I definitely stay away from the mall on Black Friday. No, thank you. And I was always a Black Friday shopper. I didn't mind it at all. I liked the hustle and bustle of the shopping. I know many of you out there are like, oh my heavens, how can you stand that? I love Christmas. And it just got me in the Christmas spirit. And, you know, the only thing that really kind of bugged me, I guess, is, you know, trying to find a parking spot and then checking out. Oh, and Kohl's, I think, was the worst, because Kohl's, of course, does not have many checkout lines. You know, they only have a few cash registers or, you know, checkout lines in that entire store. And unfortunately, they probably don't have the space to put in even some temporary ones for Christmas. That would be nice. So when you're ready to check out, the line goes all the way around the back of the store. And you typically are in line to check out for at least an hour, hour and a half. Yeah, and for anybody that has been out shopping on Black Friday, you know what I'm talking about. Many of them are like that. And then when it's, you know, these upper states, northern states, it's cold outside, and of course you want to get there before the store opens because you want to get the best deals before they sell out. So you're standing out in that freezing cold. I remember one year, quite a number of years ago, because my kids were little yet at that time, and there were a number of things that I wanted to get at Best Buy. They were just fantastic deals. And I think they opened at 5. But I stood in line because, of course, Best Buy's line has to be the longest line out of any store around for Black Friday. I mean, you have probably seen on the news in the past for Black Fridays, people are camping out days before Black Friday, which I think is a little ridiculous. Kind of like when Apple brings out a new product. People are camping out days before they bring out their new iPhone or, you know, things like that. Well, they do the same thing for Black Friday with Best Buy, because they will have some great deals on their TVs, but they only have, like, you know, 5 tickets to hand out for those great deals. So yeah, people camp out. And yeah, I went that year at 3:30 in the morning to stand in line for an hour and a half to wait for Best Buy to open. Yeah, but I did get everything I wanted. A couple things were for my son. I think one was a Game Boy Color when those first came out. So yeah, I'm really dating myself, aren't I? And I don't know. Oh, they had some really good deals on printers. And I wanted to get one for each of my daughters. So I got everything but one thing. I can't remember. There was something for my son that I wanted that was sold out. But other than that, Mom did good. Even if I froze my butt off for a few hours. Oh. I think the worst part for me was my ears. Because when I get out in the wind and it's cold out, or even if I say swimming or something and then it's windy out and that gets in my ears, I get such earaches. And silly me didn't bring along earmuffs or a hat or anything. But, you know, you get to talking to people in line, especially when you're standing in line that long. And there was a coffee place, I can't remember which one it was, that was relatively close to Best Buy. And so there were a group of gals, can't remember if it was behind me or in front of me, and a couple of the gals decided to leave while the other ones stayed in line and kind of kept the spot for them. And they went and got coffee and hot cocoa, and they asked me if I wanted anything because we were, you know, talking. Not much else to do when you're waiting in line for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And they brought me back a hot cocoa for nothing. It's like, aw, that was so nice. So Christmas can bring out the worst in people. Oh, my heavens. There goes my dog. I'm going to have to pause again. Sorry. I am back once again. I went to see what she was barking at. I did not see anything. So I don't know what was up. Usually it is somebody walking a dog out there so that she goes berserk over. And many times it is the same guy that walks this same dog. But, you know, she still has to go crazy. Yeah. That's one thing about small dogs. They are yappers. Oh. Bark, bark, bark. And it's such a high-pitched bark, you know. Kind of goes right through you. Bob hates it when she barks. Oh, even if she's just, you know. Okay, for some reason, I noticed that was not recording. What? I didn't get too far on this. I got some of the gray. I'm not sure when the other part stopped recording because I noticed it was recording when I started. It's got a mind of its own today. But like I said, we're almost done. So I don't know if it had stopped before I was talking about my phone is about dead. And I have it plugged in, so something is wrong. That it's not charging. So if my phone quits and runs out of juice before I get this done, I may just have another little part to add on to this little series of segments that I'm going to have to all splice together when I edit. But we are almost done, so hopefully it will hold out. If it dies when I just have the ones left or something, I may, again, just finish it on my own. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. gosh, it's 10 o'clock already. I hear Kelly and Ryan going off the air. How'd it get to be 10 o'clock already? Wow. Time goes by so fast when you're recording. Before you know it, an hour is gone. Doesn't go that fast at work, does it? Just like the weekends. I think God speeds up time twice as fast because weekends just go so fast. And I don't even work outside the home like many of you do. But it can kind of get to be long days. Babysitting Maddie, too. A 2-year-old can be draining. Although she is starting to play a little bit more on her own, which is so nice. She is going to be 3 in June, so she's getting a little bit better. Still has to sit in Grandma's lap quite a bit. Especially if she's watching Minnie Mouse, or that's her favorite, is watching Minnie Mouse. Okay, last color. Phone, you hanging in there? Okay, let's do the number ones and finish him off. This is a nice black. When I swatched them out, it seemed like it wasn't a real black, but on this paper, it looks pretty good. I have a kitty behind me that found something to bat around. So if you hear any scrambling, it is... Which kitty is it? Oh, it's my Midnight. He is the one that, if there's anything on the end table whatsoever that he can bat off, oh, it's down. He's seen my mouse sitting on the end table. Boom, down it went. Anything and everything that he can possibly move with his paw is down on the floor. And it's like, why must you do that? It's so funny. And if it's something that he can possibly bat around the floor, yep, then he's down on the floor playing. Which again, if it's something that's not breakable, I don't care. It's kind of cute. Unless it is something that I need. Like my mouse. You still got power? Yeah, okay. Maybe we'll make it in time. So I guess I'm going to have to charge up my phone before I can do any more videos. So I guess that would be a good time to go take my shower, huh? Oh my heavens. Not again. I just cannot win today. I don't know what she is barking at now. Hopefully she'll just simmer down to her little woof. That's what she's doing now. so we can just quick get this finished. My kitties insist that those patio door blinds should be open. They say, I want to lay in the sun, Mom. Because it does get nice and warm in here with that sun streaming in. And yeah, they love laying in the sun. Like most kitties. Most kitties love laying in the sun. Or I have a heater vent off to the left of me over here by where I have my filing cabinets. You'll always find one of the cats curled up by the heating vent. Or by the one in the kitchen. That one is probably the most popular one, because I have one underneath one of the lower cupboards, which I'd never seen before. One coming out underneath the baseboard of the cupboard. But yeah, they like it there. And when it's cold out and the floors are cold, oh, it feels so good walking past there. I think we're done. I think we're done. I think we're done. So, now, to me, this does not look like what it's supposed to be. Oh, forgot a black, didn't I? Maybe I have the wrong picture. You guys can tell me if this looks like what I thought it was supposed to be. Forgot his little cute button nose. This can't be what I thought it was going to be. Oh my heavens. Let's back out. And this is our little cutie pie. Now, I thought when I started this that this was supposed to be Pikachu. Isn't Pikachu supposed to be yellow? So, I don't know. And if you know which Pokemon this is, let me know down in the comments. Because, yeah, this does not look like Pikachu. And like I said, I do not know my Pokemon that well. So yeah, let me know which Pokemon this is. If it is not Pikachu, I mean, it kind of looks like it with the ears, but I don't know why he's orange then instead of yellow. Looks like kind of a holiday one, doesn't it, with the red and the green. Oh, that's supposed to be gray. That's right. The gray that I picked kind of has a greenish tinge to it, especially when I look at it on the screen. So anyhow, before my camera dies, this is our completed color along. I don't know if any of you were coloring along with me or how many people have this book. Again, I will leave links down in the bottom to both the book and the markers. I hope you enjoyed this color along, even with all the commotion and with the first part being sideways. But if you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing and hit the bell so you know when I put out any new videos. I hope everyone is having a terrific day. It is Friday here, so I hope you all have a great weekend. And as always, happy coloring.